So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Okay.
So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly.
Tonight's red-hot video is vindication. It is elation. President Trump wasting no time at all with his historic return to the White House, issuing one executive order after another. It was extraordinary. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, honestly. Notably, he pardoned more than 1,500 January 6th defendants and commuted the sentences of many more who were convicted. Trump supporters rallied outside of the D.C. prison, where some of the defendants are, believe it or not, still being held all these years later, and some have already been released, quite remarkably, including at least one person that I know. And interestingly, in all of these actions, he didn't pardon any members of his own family or any members of the Biden family, since they've all already been pardoned for 10 years or something.
Yeah, they've already been covered. It was really encouraging, though, to see President Trump recognize that when the January 6th committee that reviewed the Liz Cheney Jan 6 committee came out, and they actually looked at video footage and said, wait a second, these people are being held, due process rights have been revoked, they're being held without a trial, and we've done nothing. In fact, those that were tried, they weren't tried with insurrection, which was what the original accusation was. These are insurrectionists. Right. Nobody was convicted of insurrection. And so for Trump to do this was brilliant. This is also one of the things we could point out with what Joe Biden was doing. He's never tried to really unify America. And if he had, he could have, on the second or third year of his term, said, you know what, I know a lot of these people, they just got caught up in the moment. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sign their pardons right now. He never did that. And the fact that they've been in prisons, and as you said, I know some people that were there, grandmas who literally saw the doors open, the crowd going in with their Bibles. They're walking around the rotunda praying for America. They're not being hostile and aggressive, and they had their due rights revoked. They were thrown in jail, and they didn't even get a trial in this process. President Trump has done something that should have been done years ago under the Biden administration, but it's really refreshing that it finally got done. It really is refreshing that it finally got done, Mercy. And I've got to say, I mean, for me, it's a matter of equal justice under law and two-tiered system of justice. Democrats attacked the White House for 3 days in 2020, May into June. 160 to 180 police were injured. They set the Church of the Presidents on fire. Not a single person was sentenced to a single night in prison or jail.
Wait, and didn't Kamala Harris provide bail money, I believe, to
she
some
helped
of these
to raise money
protesters,
for bail for rioters,
you know, type of thing.
She did.
Of the Black Lives Matter protests. But here's the deal. We know for these J6ers, they were over-sentenced. In some cases, they've been abused. In some cases, they've been put in solitary confinement, being treated as like the most horrific criminals. Yes, they should not have gone into the Capitol. I totally agree. This should have never happened. But you can't have this injustice at how they've been treated, which I think has been basically pretty cruel by the Department of Justice. And I remember meeting the one mom or the one aunt of one of the J6ers whose nephew committed suicide because of the amount of stress that he faced, and it was such dark days. So my heart goes to her and her family as well, because this should have never been the case where they were treated so poorly.
Well, we had left-wing riots in Washington, D.C., of course. They burned and looted my neighborhood. They burned and looted this neighborhood, lots and lots of neighborhoods. And the White House for days, and nobody sent to prison. That is not equal justice under law. Outgoing President Joseph Robinette Biden issued his own preemptive pardons, including for members of the January 6th committee, the committee members and staffers and people that testified, witnesses. President Trump tore into Biden's final bulldozing of American norms in his speech last night.
I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs.
Amazing things going on in just a matter of hours.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.